Good evening. You're listening to the Extreme Movie Show. I'm your host, Rob, running all the way from the Great Midwest, away from RDV. I'm in this deadly game show called The Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger from 1987. So I'm nowhere near the Pioneer Spouse. And frankly, I don't know if I'm going to win tonight with you, RDV, because I'm going to be honest with you. As much as I love Arnold Schwarzenegger and all that, I'm not the biggest fan of this film. And I'm glad there's a bunch of weird characters in here and good lines because, ooh, this is kind of pushing it a little bit for me, to me. But you know what I like to think of this movie, RDV, as? The Richard Dawson Show. He steals it and he owns it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Dawson. Survey says, what do you think?
Yeah, Richard Dawson here too. I always forget that this is a Stephen King based off his novel.
Yes.
I just remember this, but like, what's the Running Man? You have a collar, and if you go past the red light, your head explodes. And the other thing is you're on a game show, and Jesse Ventura is on there, and I'm just like, okay, I haven't watched this since I was like 12, I think, and I'm just basically checking it out, and on Netflix because it's on there till October 31st, then it leaves, so you have till Friday to watch this movie. Mm-hmm. And if you've never seen this movie, oh my gosh, you need to go watch it right now. Come back to us and watch this, on replay. And but overall, I said I couldn't remember the first part for the life of me. I just remember Arnold being in prison, and that's how it starts. Guy, like, I forget that it's this place, and even though it's 1987, takes place in the future, 2017, Los Angeles, where basically it's separated into like different districts. The country is, and the media is controlled by the government. And I'm thinking like, oh man, it's like they're just. Is every movie from the 80s is like their future's going to be communist or totalitarian?
Well, they're all anti-Reaganites. Is basically, I mean, you get this from They Live. I'm dead serious, man. Going back to the 60s science fiction stuff. You're right. We didn't think hard about it, but it's there, right there in front of you, right? No.
Yeah, and I'm watching this, especially when we get to the game show part, and how everyone, the old lady's like, "Yeah, we're gonna kill him, murder." I'm thinking like, "Ooh, I guess these are current day Californians." But I just watching this, I'm thinking like, wow, this is very controversial as far as this is probably not back in the day. Maybe it wasn't meant to be kind of like taking that, but 2017 California is like a war zone, or not a war zone, but basically if you have contraband, which you're not allowed to have music or stuff, there's no freedom, and you have a travel pass, that's about it. But so Ben Richardson, Arnold Schwarzenegger, basically as a cop, they refused to basically fire on a crowd of people who were starving because in this 2017 world, oil and gasoline are pretty much very scarce, and along with food too. Mm-hmm. And people were not rioting, but they were basically down there. They were upset in California, in Bakersfield, because they didn't have any food. And it's always the women and children down there. And he basically, he says, "I'm not going to take that order." He's flying the helicopter.
I can't kill a bunch of defenseless people.
And I kept thinking, I was watching this. I'm watching Demolition Man. Remember, he was like,
exactly.
Yeah, framed stuff. I was just like, Demolition Man saw that, like, the Stallone says, like, you know what? That's a great idea. Let's start this off. We'll do the same thing a little bit. I was kind of saddened because I thought Jesse Ventura would have a much more bigger part in this, but he really wasn't. He was just like a commentator. He's
fantastic. His hairpiece is tremendous.
Yes.
He's got the 70s, 80s kind of white turtleneck blue jacket thing,
Captain
like the
Freedom.
old Monday Night Football thing. It's great.
But we also had another guy in here too. We had
Maria Conchita Alonso or whatever. Oof.
I'm trying to remember what his
Kotto, I think is who you're thinking of.
Yeah, Mr. Fuji.
No, Mr. Fuji's the other guy.
He is Professor Sub-Zero.
Yeah, he's
he's a hockey player in the beginning. I always remember that. I'm like, and so the whole thing is like, yeah. So basically, he gets out of prison. Him and a group, these other two guys are from this like underground freedom fighters. They managed to hack a device. So basically, like everybody's in a big firefight. And I'm thinking, like, because he saw one guy typing in his briefcase, in a code in there, and he keeps typing. He's like, "What's not working?" I'm thinking, like, can he keep panning to the other soldier who's out there who has another one just like him? I'm like, that's because he's turning it back on, dumbass. Shoot him. They finally do shoot him, and then like, hey, the password works. But they get out and they basically go to this guy who's kind of like what's the guy? Richard, Chris Christopherson, whatever it is. Chris, what was the guy's name from Convoy? Christopher. I can't remember his name.
Yes, from Blade.
Yeah. Basically, you get a guy Whistler
guy.
type guy. He basically is running the resistance. They go to his little shop, and he basically
Chris Christopherson. That's it.
Yeah, that's what he kind of reminds you of, like an old guy, like just long hair and long beard. Yeah, and they basically they go in this little slums of Los Angeles, outside of Los Angeles slums area, and they find this guy, and he's able to take the device off, and he's like, hey, open up the little well there. They throw the bomb down, they close it, and like this big explosion. I'm thinking, like, yeah, they didn't alert the authorities, but so they all decide to go their separate ways because he doesn't want to basically involve them. He goes, but instead, he ends up going to his brother's former place. Apparently, he finds this woman in there. It's hot, beautiful babe.
She was a thing back then.
Maria Conchita Alonso,
absolutely,
who I believe was a singer.
Beauty.
Yeah, and she's in his what it's supposed to be his brother's apartment, but his brother, turns out his brother was arrested. It's at the re-education camp a month ago. So she's and she's pretty much just giving him lip and stuff. So he eventually just ties her to the exercise machine, which I thought is hilarious.
It's a little bondage kind of thing here because she's in the black negligee kind of thing. That's
cool. So I like that. And then so basically he says, like, what's he gonna do? Because she's gonna give him, like, well, you're the killer Bakersfield and stuff, like, you're a bad guy. He's like, I was framed. He's like, and he's going through a closet and he finds a contraband, the cassette tapes and stuff, and cash. He's like, oh, what's in here? It's a lot of illegal stuff. Maybe I'm not the only criminal, and just kind of get her lip. Mm-hmm. So he's, what we're gonna do? We're gonna use your travel pass. We're gonna go to Honolulu, and they would have got away with it if she wouldn't have stopped his foot and yelled, "It's a killer Bakersfield!" And because karma cuts up to her, because she gets thrown into the running game as well, and he has to keep her alive, and of course, because she's the possible love interest, because opposites attract. But the best part of this movie is that it's kind of synthwave kind of music they keep playing here. And I was like, I can't remind me of like the Terminator, kind of like, every once in a while it'd play, and like I was like, oh, that's just so cool. I love synthwaves, especially in 80s movies. Yes. It just adds like a futuristic or kind of tech,
synthwave is tremendous.
Yeah, atmosphere to the movie. And Arnold, except like he still has the one-liners. It's not as bad as the one-liners it gets like in Kindergarten Cop, but then when he kills the guy and like he's like light up, it's like or lighten up or what happened to Buzzsaw? Oh, he had a splitting. He had to split or something like that. I guess
what I think is pretty good here is because people watch like Survivor and other shows. Yeah. I know the Netflix show Squid Games is really popular, and there's like another one that's out there.
Yes,
but the whole thing with daytime TV goes back to the 50s when you had the post-war boom, and housewives could sit back and TV was like a luxury item, and you might have one and all that, and then they would have these games, cheap to produce, good ratings, and you could push product to the middle class, which is burgeoning. So this movie is a mock-up of that, because once you realize that, you go, okay, let me dive into the camp.
Yes, and this reminds me of with Rollerball in the 70s. And then we get into this. This is kind of like American Gladiator kind of mixed with it now.
Yes.
And it's all televised, like and as we pointed out before, we had Richard Dawson playing Damian Killian, who's pretty much the guy running the whole entire thing and stuff. He's this is all government sanctioned because and it's all they lied because nobody survives. Everyone gets killed. So they tried to make the piece of the crowd. Oh, here's our 3 former winners, or Maui, and I'm like, and I'm thinking, I don't think they're on there. I think they're dead probably, because if you could win and get out of here, how did they stop you? I mean, like, no.
But you know what? The thing about this that they don't get into that they tried to do, but it had the opposite effect.
Yeah,
is that the whole just tell people what you're going to do and do it and shut your mouth and everyone will yell and scream. But the whole brainwashing thing with daytime TV, with soap operas and game shows and all that kind of stuff, the addictive nature of it with the bells and whistles and the flash and pomp and circumstance, It's just basic like mind control 101 in a sense, and by that I just mean anybody that has a kid knows that you put TV on or now a screen, they're immediately hypnotized to it. It affects the brain, and I think they really make fun of all in here because the contestants, like you see, they seem like they're overdoing it, but they're not. I mean, and it's just interesting that they could have went real serious with this and they didn't, and I'm glad they didn't, to be honest with you, because the best thing is when the actual fight starts and he's literally running for his life and they have all the different side characters. It's just so damn goofy. I can't take it seriously. That's what I'm trying to say here.
Well,
but that's when it's fun.
I think it's funny you say that, because with a new movie coming out in November, with a guy from Twisters, I think that's going to be more camp. The trailer looks more camp than this. This looks more serious.
This trailer does not look good, bro.
Here's the thing. He didn't need a wife and kids. For the other one, he decided to put in for diversity sex, putting him having a black wife and a kid, and he goes in there because he needs prize money, not because he's a convict. And I guess that's supposed to be more towards the book. And I'm thinking like, well, gee, if that's more towards the book, I'm glad I got this movie at least, but it's not like the book. This seems more believable to me.
You had asked me a question offline, or made a comment about something. There was a video of when the Redskins won a championship of Ronald Reagan tossing a football to one of the receivers, right?
And he throws it right out there, yeah.
Yeah, and he's a B actor, and he's from California, which is very red state if you want to think of politics here. But the thing is in the 80s, people really liked Reagan. They liked his positivity, and then the 80s was just he was the figurehead of positivity because he spoke that way and he had a sense of humor, different than Trump. But the thing is that a lot of these 80s movies like this in here, the government, you made fun of them being the bad guy. You didn't take them serious as the bad guy. But people like Stephen King said, no, the government can be the good guy and stuff. And people like him and John Carpenter and others kind of almost wanted to make you believe that was the case, that they were the only people that could do it. They're the only people that could feed you. They're the only people that could do whatever. I mean, look, Escape from New York. They make Manhattan an entire prison. Everybody goes there. That's badass. That's
same with Los Angeles. Right? Seems like every movie like that with the future is that California or New York is a piece of shit place to live, and it's a police state, and just again like the people in there are cheering for like his death and stuff, like he's like because they basically digitalize his face and stuff and edit the audio saying like he alone killed all those innocent women and children, and shows the homes and all the dead people and stuff. So everyone's like already like skewed against him pretty much, and like, oh, I hope he dies and stuff. But then when he starts killing her, like, and he's like, oh, Gladys, it's like, who? I love it. Killian's like, who do you think's getting the next kill? And she's like, Ben Richardson, and it's like, what? No, you're going to vote on the stalkers. And he's like, no, I think he's cute. I think he's gonna win. And so I love the little humor like that.
Things that even go on today.
But here's the thing, though: everyone's cheering for the runner's death because it's always convicted people, and they think they're the scum of the earth. But like, people are so conditioned to believe that these are villains and they deserve to die, and they don't care that it's broadcasting murder on live television through the government, everything, because anybody who says anything wrong gets thrown into prison. Like I said, it's just downright scary, and like controlled media and all that stuff. It's like how similar that is to what world we live in today, where it's partially some of the media is controlled. Well,
that's why, like in today's world, everybody that tries to go to YouTube and everywhere else, if you don't have vertical integration, top to bottom, and all that, and complete control, you're at the behest of somebody. So you have to know what your business model is. Nobody thinks it says in
the beginning, there's no communication. There's no internet. Well, remember, there wasn't internet back then, so it really wasn't really communication.
Desert Red was like, I came to see Arnold.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah,
you just see a little bit of a beard hair there, Desert. I don't know if that tickles your fancy there, but it's the first time I remember. Oh, it's the first time he's got facial hair, I think, in a movie. Well, here's what this movie honestly reminds me of. This is not a new story, and it's an old one. Is go back to medieval times. The whole idea of Rome being the biggest. The probably grew too big, and what happens is you always die from within, and that was the whole idea of the Colosseum, is that you didn't have the logistics to keep growing, so at some point you have to stop growing, you have to maintain. But if you don't have the infrastructure to do that, or the ability to do it, or future thinking and all that stuff with new products and new ways of doing stuff and being more efficient, then you die. So what did the Romans do? They created the idea of the Colosseum, bread and circuses is the term. Get everybody kind of foaming at the bit over some basic animalistic stuff with people killing to distract from the fact that, yeah, we don't have food. You guys are all going to die. If you don't like what we're saying, we're going to put you in there, but we don't give a shit because everybody's hypnotized by watching it. That's what the story is, really.
It's funny because we have MKF30 who popped in here, and he says, he's like, I'll be back. It isn't the wrong movie because he does say it here. He says
only in a rerun. The only time Arnold gets called out on this from Richard Dawson, right?
Yeah. Richard Dawson, he says, like, I'll be back. He's like, yeah, only in a rerun. Good luck, sport.
Man. The only thing that would make this great is Jack Palance was in it too. Man.
If oh my gosh, Jack Palance would have been the bad guy.
Oh yes. Oh, that would have been just fantastic.
Or the guy behind, like, the real ring rider, and like Killian's just a guy, stooge working for him. But here's one thing I never noticed the first time. Maybe because I was younger, I didn't really pay attention. But there actually is a gay guy in here. Mm-hmm. He's the assistant to Killian. He's the guy handing out the nerves. And they don't really bring attention to it. Not like today, where it's like, oh my gosh, like, you can't help but notice. Like, so, and this was, he was in here, you noticed it, but it didn't really draw you away from the story.
Let's go back. I in our review of Columbo, which we've done a few seasons of, and we've talked, and it's mostly early 70s shows, we've talked about some progressive ideas sneaking there, and you and I have talked about with certain movies and how it's just like in the background, you don't see it too much. But the whole thing of making that acceptable, remember, it wasn't until the 70s that being homosexual, male or female, was considered, a mental disease, for lack of a better term, right? So they were very, it was, how are we going to do this is what they were thinking about. And so there's certain movies that came up with it. But the one thing is that you would not see in a comedy movie today is if you see something like the movie Airplane, the one guy's obviously very gay and they make him very swishy and he comes up and he's hysterical in it. And it's like this background assistant. They always made it that background character for a long time now, until, of course, like you say now, right? So it's just, it's always there. I mean, it's not a new thing. It's just
Crocodile Dundee got edited because they had the tranny joke in there, and today people can't handle jokes. And it actually was played by a real woman. It wasn't even a guy. It was actually a real woman. It wasn't. That's funny. But yes, it was Sub-Zero. We're talking about that with Mr. Professor Tanaka.
He was the bad guy, William Shatner's Impulse, and a bunch of other stuff, dude. So this guy's been around. He's been in a lot of stuff. He's a good heavy. He literally is. Yeah,
we had characters in here. We had Mick Fleetwood. I kept thinking, is he one of the guys from Fleetwood Mac? So. Aaron Van Lint, who plays Dynamo. Can we talk about Dynamo?
In a moment, because one guy I want to talk about real quick that you will not know who it is. I popped because I didn't recognize it, but I used to watch this TV show, and I still think it's one of the better fast comedy shows called Psych, where the guy fakes being a detective because he's got like really good powers of observation. Corbin Burnsen's like his dad. It's my one relaxing comedy go-to show on TV that I like, right? Beautiful women, stupid thing or whatever, right? But they have, after like 2 or 3 seasons, they introduce a character that's the guy that does all the autopsies, the morgue guy. And it's this guy named Kurt Fuller, and he's very weird in here. I've mentioned him before on 1 or 2 streams. Well, I popped because he's like the tall background assistant in the back or wherever. We're like, Dawson's always smoking, and he always has somebody lighting a cigarette. That's a tremendous, right? And he's like, hey, who is this guy? And he goes, oh, that's Ben Johnson. He's the guy giving you the information reading in the background that you never pay attention to, right? Because he's not flamboyant like the gay guy.
No.
Like, that's Kurt Fuller. There he is. Yeah, he's
Kurt Fuller. He's from Wayne's World. That's where I know him from. Also, he was also in Ghostbusters 2.
Yes.
We had another guy here who played Lenny, Edward Bunker.
From?
You don't really? Runaway Train?
Huh?
Runaway Train.
Okay, well, I'm not going to remember Runaway Train.
He's the warden.
Runaway Train. Well, that's nice. Okay, great. But I wouldn't remember that off the top of my head.
You don't recognize?
It doesn't strike deep in my core emotional like some other actors.
You're too busy like drooling over Arnold. Oh, he's so physique. Look at his biceps when he show him running. Like, I need this guy. Like Dan Killian. I need Arnold in this movie.
Live and Let Die with Yaphet Kotto in there as the Haitian drug lord or Jamaican drug lord, whatever it is, right? Giving the speech, and he's Mr. Big where he pulls the skin off. That's really cool shit. You wouldn't recognize that he's one of the guys there because I remember, that's Yaphet Kotto, who's ended up doing a TV show later, but that's it.
Yeah, I was trying to remember who Sven is supposed to be. Sven-Ole Thorsen is the actor, but he plays Sven. He's the guy. He's the the big security guard guy who helps out Killian.
I don't know if he was in Conan or if he's in that weightlifting group because there was a lot of speeds and all that back then.
Yeah, Denmark's strongest man in 1983. He's a
there you go
stunt man. Yeah.
So we got two guys we're going to talk about here.
Yeah, okay. He wasn't Conan. He was the guy with the hammer.
Yes, and you know what his best line in the movie is that he says twice in Conan?
What's that?
You, and then he smashes the big mallet on there. Phenomenal.
I kept thinking like this looks like the guy who was from Street Fighter. the big dupe, the doofus guy. That's the dumb one. I kept thinking like because Sven kind of looks like him a little bit.
Everybody's ripping off Conan.
Yeah. Kurt Fuller's in there too. I said Dweezil Zappa.
Dweezil
in here. Just randomly in here. Stevie. The old guy, Mick Fleetwood, he plays Mick. He's the guy leader of the rebels. And I had Fireball played by Jim Brown.
Jim Brown.
Yeah.
Okay, let me stop for a minute on Jim Brown. Jim Brown retired from football early. He did a bunch of blaxploitation movies in the 70s. We've yet to cover him. We've talked about Fred Williamson a little bit because he was in From Dusk to Dawn. So those guys are really big. We've been dabbling in there with our recent review of Blackula. But Jim Brown is a running back. He literally is considered one of the best athletes of all time. Now, Bo Jackson in the 80s was a two-sport player. Later, Deion Sanders. Bo Jackson was one of the most best athletes I've seen. The best athlete of all time, of course, is Wilt Chamberlain. That's not even really debatable. That's for another cast. But Jim Brown definitely got into some of these movies. So having him in there, you're popping because you're like, hey, this is legit tough guy. This is the real deal. It adds some credibility to all this craziness that's going on.
He was so. Can we finally talk about Dynamo?
Let's talk about Dynamo, sir.
Erland van Lidth de Jude, who died. Not even a a couple months or a year after this movie came out.
Okay.
34 years old, had a massive heart attack. I wondered why. My local comic shop owner also was obese. Just died earlier this year, or about a month ago, 2 ago. And I'm just thinking like these heavyset guys in here. Dynamo was kind of crazy. I always remember him because he's I call him Mr. Light Bright. He's a guy who he can electrocute you, but he has light brights that the glow in it. He's in the dark, and he has like a little mohawk, the Roman mohawk.
Love it.
Yeah,
he dove deep into this role.
Yeah. Yes. Sorry, MK. Zangief was the guy like I'm thinking of from Street Fighter with Jean-Claude Van Damme. No. So yeah, Dynamo is like his power. He can like electrocute you and just throw their bolts out. That's how he takes out one of the guys from a distance, and he just shoots electricity on his hands. I'm just thinking like, oh no, I'm getting flashbacks to Superman 4 with electricity and stuff. Yep. And this, and I love the way that he goes out. Like it's not even in the actual ring or unit, whatever. It's when they actually get into the studio part, and he shows up, and he's just wearing his tidy whities, and he's got his suit on top. And because the guy was such a joke, he went to go chase Arnold in his little car, because he's too fat to run. And the car tips over and rolls over. And he's like, I'm stuck, help me. And I'm thinking like, and that's when Arnold refuses to kill him. And everyone's like, boo. And I'm like, why isn't he killing him? He's like, so because he keeps, so they basically, after this, they run into Fireball, because Fireball's called out of retirement, go in there. And Jim ends up getting, he's still in the lineup, because Arnold basically corners him after they find the former contestants are dead in there, and he's going to kill Amber. He pulls his gas line and pushes him down, and he had the flare he grabbed from earlier when he was trying to kill him, and he just he's like, here, lighten up. There was a flare in there, and the guy explodes, like, no, the gasoline, and just dies. So Dynamo now has come back. He's chasing Amber. And she's dropped her little Uzi gun, and he's going to kill her. So what she does, she grabs her gun, but instead of shooting him, she shoots the fire. Basically the sprinkler above him. So electrocutes him, and I'm thinking she's wet too. How is she not fried? Extra crispy.
Because it's a movie.
I know, right? But of course, he has the Emperor, like from Return of the Jedi, the blue cat, like lightning, special effects.
The thing with Dynamo is I'm looking at this going, I'm just shaking my head, man, this is really fucking stupid, right? And I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
And the light bright thing or whatever, I go, this is probably where Chris Jericho got the idea for the jacket, right?
Yes.
But the fact that he's singing opera when he pops on screen does it for me every time.
He is an
That's
opera
a nice
singer.
little character touch, as we like to say.
I love it because the fact that actually in real life he actually was an opera singer. He did some singing.
Yeah, if you've got it, use it.
Yeah.
Lean into it a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And what says drama like opera, like the marriage of Figaro? Because it's like they always say, either you love sushi, you hate it, either you love opera, you hate it, and either you love Dynamo or you don't.
It was just
kind of in here. I would be mad at this movie. Jesse Ventura and his butt chin and turtleneck.
Like, everyone was like, I did not expect like them to throw in like a guy who was kind of like not even a big bad villain. He was kind of a joke. All the other ones are like guys at chainsaws, and he was trying to, he finds in kills one guy. Oh, sorry, my alarm's on right now for some reason. I don't know why. But that scared the crap out of me more than Dynamo. But yeah, you had all these villains here, all these gladiators, and Dynamo ends up being like the weakest link in here too. But he gets a comeback in this. No,
I want the spinoff.
Oh, Dynamo 2.
I want the origin story.
Electric Boogaloo.
I want an 8-episode series. Pronto.
Yeah. But overall, like I said, he was kind of a joke and all. But I like as far as this, because I remember like how is the ending gonna go? Because I know that they got this guy. Sven shows up and he's like, and after they storm, first they do the broadcast showing the real tape that she had snatched before, and he's like, "Where'd you hide that?" I could tell you. It was in her cooter. She had a little micro tape, and so they use the original footage of him basically and exonerate him. And then this basically they'll say like, Killian is lying to you and all stuff. They show the contestants are dead. So they storm the studio and they have a shootout and they get the audience out of there. So it's just basically Killian and and Arnold. And then Sven shows up. He's like, and Killian's like, "Hey, Sven, you want to talk to her?" He's like, "No, I can't hear you. I'm deaf from steroids." Because he had yelled at him earlier about that. He's like, "I'm deaf from steroids." So he leaves him, and I'm like, as soon as I knew that, oh, this is how it ends. That's right. Arnold basically like picks him, Killian, throws him into the awesome sled, which was really cool. Because I remember if you ever watch Voltron, the movie original back in the 80s, how everyone went to the Lions. They had to go with these little, they got these chairs, rocket chair sleds, and they went to each of their through the castle to their each separate lions. Well, it's kind of the same thing. This is like a sled, rocket sled. He puts them in there, it locks in. He's like, "Don't worry, you're going to be star," or whatever. And he basically sends them out, and you see him. I love the cameras in there. You see the rocket sled going through the flames, and then he launches up and he goes into his own poster advertising and it explodes. I'm thinking like he must increase the output on the rocket sled, because the other ones kind of, I remember they were controlled by the studio, but I remember when him and his other buddies went in there, they didn't like crash like that. Mm-hmm. But
you and I were talking about in the last great bad guy, Jack Palance.
Yeah,
it was in Tango and Cash.
Jack Palance.
I know, right? Talked about how shitty the supercar was there at the end and everything, right?
Mm-hmm. It's a truck.
And then we got the shitty car in here, right? It's just a motor with like a plastic box put on. It's really crappy, right? But you know what's weird? Here we are, like 40 years later. I'm at my little tennis park or whatever down the road, and we've got like 2 people driving Cybertrucks.
I was going to say Tyson.
I know. I'm looking at it now, going, "Shit, that's the Cybertruck." Did Elon steal it from the Running Man? Because it's like, it's the ugliest fucking car I've ever seen, right? I mean, a Pinto looks better than a Cybertruck.
Well, that's the thing about too. It reminds me of RoboCop with the futuristic limo they had in here in the beginning when the guys ran to the studio. Killian is, and he's like this stretched limo, and it looks kind of futuristic. That's the thing too. All the buildings look really futuristic stuff, and I'm thinking like, man, they just look ugly, And hey, I was gonna say it looks better than the museum here. They redesigned the museum here. It looks like three toilet papers stacked up each side around it. So it looks like 3-ply. I was like, ugh. But overall, like I said, this was a very fun movie, and it's on Netflix right now. So if you have Netflix, go watch right now. You could probably find a collection with Arnold Schwarzenegger and actually get this on here. It's probably part of the collection. Go to like Blu-ray.com or even maybe Shout Factory. Sometimes they have that too. But yeah, very, very fun movie. It does have one-liners in here, not as much crazy as he did later in the 90s. This was still kind of like Stallone, 87. He's kind of like he just did
Predator, wasn't it?
Predator. I think was Predator was last year, wasn't it? 89, 88.
I think maybe 88.
Yeah,
anyway, yeah, it's around.
This is right before Predator.
Yeah,
the one previous he did before this was Terminator.
And that's right, because we still had Terminator 2 in 90 and some others. Yeah.
So, like I said, the fact that it's just Arnold kind of speaking a little bit more, and he did. Like I said, Arnold was good acting here. He wasn't a horrible actor like you'd expect, in some of the other movies, but he was actually pretty good, still believable.
I think he's relaxed. You know what I mean? Like he's at peace with who he is and what the movie is supposed to be. And one thing I've always appreciated about Arnold acting is that even though he might have tried doing comedy and some other stuff and changing and whatever think about it, he understands give the people what they want. Stallone's always been that way for the most part. He's tried different things, but they're very consciously aware of it. Okay, we're going to be having a review coming out of 1959, The Mummy from Hammer, that we just recorded offline. And I think one of the things that I mentioned is that how good the actors are. They kind of sell it, and I think they just, again, know what the audience is expecting, and they make movies for that. There's not a disconnect between that, because this is the movie that, like, me and all the high school guys would all go out to see midnight movies and stuff like that. You're going to go see The Running Man. It's a packed audience. Everyone's laughing, having a good time. That's the kind of environment you're going to see this in. If you're watching it by yourself, maybe like that's not that funny. When you're a room full of a bunch of other people in the movie theater laughing and having a good time, and you don't take it that seriously, that's what's supposed to be, right?
I think our next Arnold movie needs to be Total Recall.
Yeah, phenomenal. I mean, it's that was a blast. I mean, that was probably that's really good. Absolutely, really, really.
Anytime good. I get to see Red Foreman.
Yeah.
Mr. Michael Ironside. Sorry.
Michael Ironside. Yes. Great, heavy kind of guy there too. Final thoughts on The Running Man, sir. What do you?
Final thoughts on The Running Man. I said with the new movie coming out, I think this will still hold up and still be better than the new one. Now, people like Pixel who are younger, who won't really probably not even seen this movie, will be like, nah, the new one's really great, man. How can you not like that one? It's like, I'm not saying it's gonna be bad. I just think I don't think it's gonna be as good as this one. I said Arnold makes a movie
trying to be camp for camp's sake.
Here's the thing.
I don't know.
When you replace the actor that made the role famous with somebody else and change the movie, it just seems like you're just throwing Ryan Reynolds into it. When it's meant to be Christopher Lambert or something like that, like I think the only movie I've said before that reboot was actually better than the original is Fright Night, because of Colin Farrell as Jerry, the neighbor vampire. I thought that I liked it.
I disagree with you. However, it is good. It is one of the few remakes or reimages that was pretty good.
Whatever the Christopher guy is, the guy is it Christopher Speak? I can't remember what his name is. The guy who's plays Jerry in the original Fright Night. I thought he was a joke.
No, phenomenal.
I thought this was much more creepy with Jerry showing how he can catch up to the car and all that stuff. I thought that was
the 80s one's camp.
But I do love
the fact that they went with a different tone to it, and they succeeded. I agree with you on that.
Like I said, I think Jerry is a better part for the film, but I think overall the guy who played the original character, that is Vincent Price kind of type guy, was better than David Tennant in the reboot. I'll give you that. But I'm trying to think, and like, I think the only movie that I think other than that I'll be saying that might be better than the original is there's another one coming out. It's another reboot remake. I'm trying to think what it was.
I just come out at the end of the year.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what it was. I was just thinking it just popped out of my head. Dang it. No, I say, oh no, Highlander, with Henry Cavill actually might be better than the original. And the only thing that might separate it that from the keep the original being better is Sean Connery's character. I do love Christopher Lambert, but he was French man playing a Scottish guy. Cavill.
Nobody's replacing Sean Connery.
No, but I'm saying
nobody's replacing Queen.
And exactly, you're not going to have a clean sound.
Nobody's replacing the love story that people actually like about that first movie.
I'm just saying, you won't have those. You won't have Connery. You won't have the Queen soundtrack in this new one. But I do love the fact that Henry Cavill, and we always said about him, like, he is a nerd. He loved The Witcher. He tried to make it as faithful as he did to the book. And that's why he left it, because he got tired of arguing with all these people who didn't care. And I'm looking forward to actually Highlander when it comes out, if it ever comes out. I think it's like next year.
What do you think of MK30's recent post here about Evil Dead 2013?
Evil Dead 2013. Now, if you're talking about the original first Evil Dead came out before they rebooted it with the camp style, I'd say it might be a little better. But I mean, that was also a twist too, having the girl Ashley, being the chosen one, or there wasn't really a chosen one. They didn't call it that, but she's the one that survives and stuff. Her brother being the one who works at the hardware store. I would have rather heard her being working at the hardware store and her being like the female counterpart to Ash, like there was in the comic books. But yeah, 2013 was a little bit more gory than the original one. I still like the original, one with Bruce Campbell and Linda and all that stuff, and the claymation. Now, but
I think I've seen the 2013 one, but I don't know.
It's the chick, and see, the main chick who survives gets she's the one that gets raped in the woods.
Okay.
Instead of being the sister.
Gotcha.
And she basically goes possessed, but the brother is able to bury her and will bring her back, and then she survives. So she grabs the chainsaw, and takes out the Deadites. But yeah, I like the original one better with Bruce Campbell, even though I don't like it as much as the second and the third one, but yeah, Bruce Campbell just has that it factor. But I do like the other. I forgot who the actress was who played it in the 2013. But
it's a shame that we reviewed Link because all
Link
come down to a Shockma.
The horror version
is tremendous. But it's unfortunate it's not till January that we're going to be reviewing Primate, which has a fantastic trailer, and I hope lives up to it.
Shockma or Link?
It's Shockma. But Link is good. It's a worthy competitor, and I'm glad they're doing another evil chimpanzee, evil ape type movie here. So check that out. It's I'm already geeking out over it. But yeah, it's man, we got a bunch of good things to look forward to talking about.
Christopher Sarandon, thank you. That's what his name. I couldn't remember what it was. Yeah, I thought, am I Christopher Speak? I'm like Speakman? No, that's guy. Jeff Speakman. That's the guy you like.
Jeff Speakman.
Yeah, Jim guy.
What about him?
No, I was trying to remember what the guy Christopher was. Sarandon name was. I couldn't remember what his name. I thought it was Speak or something like that.
Oh, he's not the Jim Cotta guy. That was the guy from the '84 Olympics with the petite one was on the Wheaties box here. Was it Mary Lou Retton? Yeah. I mean, they were because it was here's the thing. The Olympics were in '84 in LA. And that was a big deal at the time because we crushed everybody. It was the last year that we pretty much won gold and everything and destroyed everybody as amateurs. And then in '88, when it got fucked up, now we have professionals going in there and mopping up. So it's just not the same. It meant something in '84 with Reagan and Americana and all that. No joke.
The U.S. team got beat by was it the Spanish team or something? After 12 tries, they just finally defeated them. And it's anyway, though,
MK, just to reply to MK's comment here and close it up about reviewing Halloween and all that. I think next year, even though we've reviewed some of those movies, I think I want to review every single Halloween movie next year, even the shitty ones, even the Rob ones, even 6, which you and I always talk about, and all that. There's just so much to get to, and I keep saying one of these years we're going to do a movie a day for all of the month of Halloween, and looking forward to being able to pound out that kind of content.
5 years ago now, 2020 or 2019, you and Engleton actually did all the Halloween movies.
I think we ranked them. They
didn't review them though.
Yeah, exactly. We just kind of said, I think this
but MKF 30 is a huge Chucky fan and stuff. He's got his own channel and he has his reviews, the Chucky dolls and stuff.
If you're a gamer at all, MK, check out there's a trailer out there for pre-release. Of course, it's pre-release footage for John Carpenter's a big gamer. He's big into Fallout and a bunch of other games. He's done some soundtracks and stuff like that. But there's going to be, I don't know if Evil Dead did it, but I know Friday the 13th, they made a co-op horror survival game where one of you is the killer and everybody else.
Evil Dead, I did that.
They recreated Haddonfield and they're doing it with Michael Myers. And it actually looks fucking good. At least the trailer does. I'm kind of geeked out because it's coming out next year. That's what made me think of all the Halloween stuff because, we might get him to score it a little bit. He also has like an action game coming out too and all that. But the way graphics are today now on computers and all that, sometimes even though I've got the Ultra HD, TV like everybody else does, it just looks better on my computer monitor if I download a really high def version of a movie that we watched or whatever. Sometimes Netflix only carries something like in 720p or 1080. It just doesn't look the same if you get that 2K, 4K one and you watch it. You know what I'm saying? It's just, oof. Next year's going to be rocking for sure. Yeah, I want to thank everybody for showing up tonight, going over The Running Man. It's a fun movie. It's very lighthearted, not to take too seriously. We're going to transition into more of the fall stuff here with Thanksgiving coming up and Christmas time and all that. Yes. So if you guys got any sort of special movies, let us know. We'd be happy to review
there's
those.
A new Santa Sleigh movie coming out, or Deadly
Night. Deadly Night.
That's a remake of that.
Oh my God.
Hey, Mortal Kombat I think I got pushed back to next year.
Yeah, it did.
It actually looked good. It looked more faithful. And it didn't look like they had
a trailer guy. The last one.
The last movie, the reboot they did, went away from the whole game. Changed. They added a character in there. Sub-Zero was like great grandson who had no business being in there.
You know who I want playing Jax in this new movie?
Who's that?
Powerhouse Hobbs.
Powerhouse Hobbs. Yes.
Good night, everybody.
And throw Braun Strowman in there too. All right, guys, take it easy. Now check out other Arnold Schwarzenegger play. He's got some other movies there too. So if you have any suggestions, comment down below. It helps the algorithm and this lets people know that hey, we exist, and the algorithm will start pushing these more for more people to watch.
That's right. Tweet again.
Shout out to Desert Rose, Variety Princess, and MKF30 for showing up and checking us out. I always love seeing you guys in the chat here. It's a lot better than this me and Rob just talking and then there's no one in the audience. But thank you, and we'll see you guys on Tuesday for our Tulsa King review at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Good night.
Later, guys.